Welcome to Review Set Scare with Jess and Blair. I'm Jess.
I'm Blair.
Blair, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good, man. It's been a long week, let me tell you.
It certainly has. Ditto to that, ditto to that. But it is officially the start of the long weekend.
Yeah, buddy. My daughter started daycare this week.
Oh,
Work was nuts this week, so I am very much looking forward to this long weekend.
now you were telling me that dropping off your daughter at daycare, that was going to be tricky.
Yeah, I didn't even do it. I got Rachel to do it because I was like,
you
oh
couldn't do
man,
it.
yeah, I couldn't do it, man.
Man, I would have been in the same place. No, I can't do it. I would have just started crying.
First day at daycare, like only 10 months old. Yeah, tough. It's hard enough just knowing she's there, but
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Oh, goodness. But she survived and she's doing well.
man, it looks like she's having a good time. She's having a lot of fun there.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Boy, we have a fun one to talk about tonight. It is our second movie in the month of April, which is, of course, Remake month. April kind of started off with a little bit of a dud.
Yeah.
And I am very excited to talk about this week's episode. But before we get into the episode, what do you say we chat a little bit about horror news? You want to start this one off, Blairski?
All right, man. So all I've got is we're only 14 days away from Evil Dead Rise.
It's like Christmas. It's Christmas Eve for the next 14 days. It's just a giant tease.
We talk about it every episode, but I think we're both pretty stoked for it at this point.
100%. And there was a new trailer that just came out.
And we just watched it, both of us.
It's not as gory as like the Red Band trailer or anything like that. It was, what do they call it? Like a review trailer where it's just a bunch of reviews they've gotten so far flashing across the screen.
Yeah, that's all it is. But there is some scenes that were in the original trailer. There's also some new scenes though that we see.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited for this movie. And tickets are finally on sale.
I read that as well, but then I checked our local theaters and I couldn't find anything. Yeah.
Just our luck, eh?
I know. I also wanted to mention that you sent me a video on YouTube of the complete Red Band trailer for Evil Dead Rise done in Lego.
And it's really, really good.
It's so fucking funny, man. And it's almost like done scene for scene. It's so good.
I can't remember the name of the person who did this video, but I'm sure if you YouTube Evil Dead Rise Lego, it'll pop up right away. And you got to watch it because it is fantastic.
It was so funny, man. It made me laugh my ass off.
I've got a couple pieces of horror news. First off, it's been a few episodes now since I've talked about the hit HBO TV show based on the hit Naughty Dog video game, The Last of Us.
Mm-hmm.
But I have some exciting news regarding season 2. So season 1 was shot in the province I was born and raised in, and it was just announced that filming of season 2 will move to the province that Blair was born and raised in.
Oh no shit! Have they named the cities?
I'm guessing it's going to be all in Vancouver.
Yeah, I would guess that as well.
That would be my guess. Obviously, the second game takes place a lot in, I believe it's Seattle. Which
and
makes
we're right
sense.
Across the water, right? So
It makes total sense. Still no official news on when they might begin filming, but Bella Ramsey, who played Ellie, recently said in an interview that she thought they'd start filming towards the end of 2023, with season 2 being released sometime in 2024 or early 2025. Bit of a wait, but if it means that they are putting in the work, I'm okay with that. Second piece of news, I have Maxine, the third installment of the X trilogy starring Mia Goth, recently had a cast announcement. Big names included in this announcement: Halsey, a musician, Giancarlo Esposito, and Mr. Footloose himself, Kevin Bacon.
which is pretty awesome. I don't even remember the last thing he's been in.
Now, you've seen X. We've both seen X. And I haven't seen Pearl, but you've seen Pearl.
Yes, and I am going to lend it to you. I own it, so you will watch it soon. But it is great. I'm loving the whole series so far.
Yeah, I'm very excited to watch Pearl. But yeah, I loved X. I thought it was super original. I loved the feel of it, that kind of that 1970s vibe. And I believe Maxine is going to have like a 1980s vibe to it, which is kind of cool. A final bit of horror news I have: April 13th, there will be a screening at the Arrow Theater in Santa Monica, California, to celebrate the 20th anniversary of House of a Thousand Corpses. 20 years.
That is fucking insane and awesome, man.
That is super awesome, but 20 years, it does not feel that old.
No, it doesn't. It still holds up to this day. I love that movie.
One of my favorites. Both Rob Zombie and Sherry Moon Zombie will be in attendance.
That's awesome.
This screening, so that's really cool.
Let's go.
Yeah. Let's get right into this episode. How about this week in April, Remake Month, we will be discussing 2010's Piranha 3D. This one coming in at 1 hour, 28 minutes. Blairski, you got any fun facts on this one?
Nothing really, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I did read they used about 80,000 gallons of fake blood during the filming. And all the water, especially in that one scene where it seems everybody dies.
Yeah.
They literally dyed that water red.
Now, is that more or less than the upcoming Evil Dead Rise, which we never talk about?
I'm gonna have to go back on one of her past episodes because I know I just mentioned that.
I know you did as
episode.
Well.
Yeah,
it's a lot. It's going to be a lot.
It is a lot, which I thought was pretty cool. Also, in that scene, I'm going to mention this now, but I'm going to talk about it again in our kill count.
Okay.
But I read what I just said on Wikipedia. And they also say that in that scene, 1,000 people get murdered in that water.
I mean, it would take days and days to analyze that. And
Right.
Perhaps that's a little, bonus episode where we sit and we actually physically count. Well, not physically count, but,
I don't even
count
know if
from
that's
afar.
possible. You'd have to watch that movie scene for fucking scene, man.
Yeah, shot by shot. It's a lot. It's a lot. I've got a couple fun facts for this one. Surprisingly, no cuts were demanded by the MPAA, which is the Motion Picture Association of America. I guess they're kind of in charge of giving movies their rating. And they demanded no cuts, which I still find quite surprising.
And fucking awesome, too.
Yeah. Christopher Lloyd worked for 1 day on this movie, and Richard Dreyfuss worked for 2 days on this movie, which I thought was kind of cool. When Richard Dreyfuss was asked about the movie in an interview, he said, "I don't know anything about Piranha other than the work I did on the film. I worked for 2 days in the middle of the desert, got my check, and then left."
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
And I find it funny that he spent 2 days and Christopher Lloyd spent 1 because I feel like Christopher Lloyd has more screen time.
Agreed. I think Richard Dreyfuss is in it for the first scene, which I think only lasts 3-4 minutes.
Yeah.
I also read somewhere that Richard Dreyfuss donated his entire check to charity, which I thought was kind of cool.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah.
This one took 42 days to shoot, and there was a television spot that was banned for being too gory. Also, apparently, it gave away the ending.
Oh, the ending.
Yeah. This one directed by Alondre Aja. I'm sorry, I butchered that name. I know it. Also directed 2006's The Hills Have Eyes remake.
Okay.
And 2013's Horns, which I believe stars Daniel Radcliffe. This one written by Pete Goldfinger. Also wrote 2009 Sorority Row, 2012's Piranha 3 Double D, 2017's Jigsaw, and 2021's Spiral. He also wrote the script for the upcoming Saw 10.
Oh, okay.
Also written by Josh Stolberg. Also wrote 2017's Jigsaw, 2021 Spiral, and 3 episodes of the hit TV show Sabrina the Animated Series.
Sabrina the Teenage Witch?
The animated series.
Okay,
So not
okay,
not the TGIF one, but the animated series.
Yeah.
This one had a massive cast. It was kind of a combination of veteran actors and porn stars.
Yeah, it was.
So this one right off the top, Richard Dreyfuss as Matt Boyd, of course, starred in The Goodbye Girl, Mr. Holland's Opus, Jaws, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, American Graffiti, and the voice of Centipede in the especially creepy 1996 children's film, James and the Giant Peach. It not only scared the hell out of me in 1996, but continues to do so in 2023.
I was just about to ask you if you've seen it, but you just answered that question.
It's terrifying, man. I don't know if it's stop motion, I think it is stop motion. It's terrifying. It's pretty dark.
Is this stop motion? I always thought it was claymation, but yeah, nonetheless, it is.
I think it might be. Yeah, it is. It's scary, scary, scary. Also starring Ving Rhames as Deputy Fallon, starred in 2002's Lilo and Stitch, 1997's Con Air, the Mission Impossible series as Luther, and perhaps in his finest role in one of the finest films, Marcellus Wallace in 1994's classic Pulp Fiction.
Mhm.
Also starring Stephen R. McQueen as Jake Forrester, starred as Jeremy Gilbert in 133 episodes of The Vampire Diaries. Have you ever seen The Vampire Diaries, Blair?
Yeah, I have actually.
Big fan?
It's okay. It's actually not that bad of a show.
Okay.
I never
HBO,
really
right?
got into it. I'm not sure what it is on anymore, but when I watched it, it was years ago, and
It was okay.
it was okay.
Also starring Elizabeth Shue as Julie Forrester, starred in 1983's The Karate Kid, 1987's Adventures in Babysitting, 1989's Back to the Future Part 2, 1990's Back to the Future Part 3, 1995's Leaving Las Vegas, and as Jordan Mooney in Blair's favorite Tom Cruise movie, Cocktail.
Where did you come up with this?
I don't come up with it, Blair. You simply love these movies.
I've never even heard of it.
Don't lie. We know it's your favorite of the Tom Cruise movies. Cocktail. Jerry O'Connell as Derek Jones starred in 1986's Stand By Me, 1986's Stand By Me, 1996's Jerry Maguire, Scream 2 as Derek, Detective Woody in Crossing Jordan, and as the boyfriend in the 1999 music video for the Mariah Carey smash hit, Heartbreaker. I remember that music video was on TV all the time.
I remember that too, man. Back when Much Music and MTV actually played music.
And they played this one a lot.
Yeah, man.
I remember it was this one. I remember they played The Smooth Criminal.
Oh, Alien Ant Farm. Yeah.
Covered by Alien Ant Farm, where they're
Yeah.
dancing in a wrestling ring. Yeah. Oh, the 90s. Also starring Christopher Lloyd, Adam Scott, and Eli Roth in a nice little cameo. Synopsis, courtesy of IMDb. After a sudden underwater tremor sets free scores of prehistoric man-eating fish, an unlikely group of strangers must band together to stop themselves from becoming fish food for the area's new razor-tooth residents. Pretty much.
Yeah, it's pretty much they leave out the absolute bloodbath that ensues.
Yeah, bloodbath and naked bodies.
Oh,
yeah.
lots of naked bodies.
This leads to one of our favorite segments of the show, Kill Count.
Kill count. The time of the show we count the kills.
Blairski, what do you got for Kill Count?
There was absolutely no way I could keep count watching this movie.
You had one job and you couldn't do it, hey?
Oh man, it was an absolute bloodbath. But it's weird. The kill counts fandom page lists the kill count as 21. It seems low.
I agree. I feel like that is way low. I think it was probably 21 within the first 40 minutes. And then maybe the person whose job it was to count it just gave up because there was so many.
Well, as I said, in our fun facts, Wikipedia says the kill count's closer to 1,000, right?
Would say anywhere between 21 and 1,000.
Yeah, we'll go with that, man.
It's a drastic difference.
It was a fucking bloodbath, this movie, and it was great.
Okay, I think that's a great segue into likes and dislikes. Why don't you kick this one off? What did you like about a Piranha 3D?
Blood, guts, gore, the practical effects. Oh, it was awesome, man.
Yeah, Yeah, I agree. I was telling you earlier this week, this was the bloodiest movie I've seen since Terrifier 2. It was everything I love in a horror movie. It was a B movie bloodfest.
It was so fun to watch, man.
And that's what it was. I've also said numerous times, it didn't take itself seriously. Like it knew exactly what it was as a movie, and it didn't try and be something else.
Yeah, it was very campy, and you could tell they were going for it. They were going for that.
Yeah, I remember in our last episode, Nightmare on Elm Street, we talked about the CGI and how much we were disappointed by it. This movie starts off with some pretty bad CGI, but it felt completely different to me.
It's that's one of my don't likes is the CGI because it is horrible.
It's
But
horrendous.
the CGI in this movie is horrible. But yeah, you're right. It didn't ruin the movie for me, like at all.
I think it added to the campiness, it added to the ridiculousness of this movie, which already was like, this movie is so bad.
So
but it's like,
bad
even
that
with the
it's great.
CGI, it's like looking back at Mosquito, 1994's Mosquito,
Yeah,
where it was like those puppets of the mosquitoes were so bad that they were funny.
it's true. It's true.
What else did you like about this one?
Good acting, man. The acting was really good.
Yeah, not terrible, eh?
It was really good. I loved the special appearance of Eli Roth.
Yeah.
I love the fact Christopher Lloyd was in this movie.
Can we just take a minute to appreciate that Christopher Lloyd is wildly entertaining in absolutely everything he's in?
Oh, he's great, man.
He's one of my favorites. Oh,
Yeah,
he's so good.
So good.
He's maybe in this one for what, 10 minutes total, if that?
Yeah, probably around that.
And he's so good in this. He's so good. And Eli Roth has maybe one of the most hilarious death scenes.
And his character just in general is so funny, man.
Yeah, it's one of those movies where you hate a lot of the characters.
Yeah.
Because they're just gross. So when they die in like overly campy ways, you're almost cheering for, whatever method is killing them off.
Well, especially Derek's death.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. And it just kind of drags out, and then he comes back to life, and then yeah.
Yeah, the biggest douchebag in the entire movie gets his dick fucking eaten off, and it's so fucking funny.
Yeah. What did you think about the intro in this one?
With
Richard Dreyfuss.
Yeah, that was great. I loved it.
I think the last three movies we've watched, Scream, the remake that must not be named but will be named, which is The Nightmare on Elm Street, and this one, Piranha 3D, I felt have all had pretty solid intros.
Yeah, they really did. And it does set the tone for the rest of the movie, except obviously for the case of Nightmare on Elm Street. And I did also find in this movie, after that opening scene, it was kind of a slow start. It was a slow build-up, but as the movie went on, it just got better and better.
Yeah, and it's tricky because, you're going into a movie, Piranha 3D, and you really don't care about the dialogue. And the dialogue is pretty lackluster. So when the plot or the dialogue starts to drag on, it's like, hey, I'm waiting for something to happen. And the minute something does happen, it doesn't stop for the rest of the movie, which I think is maybe, half an hour in. And it's like, okay, there will be somebody dying in every single scene from now on.
Yeah.
And there is, no word of a lie.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. Did you think this movie was more of like an actual remake to the original, or did you find it more of a spoof?
So I've actually never seen the original, and I really want to watch the original now. I feel like it's probably, I would say it's probably a loose remake would be my guess.
That's exactly what Wikipedia calls it, a loose remake. I found it kind of a spoof, kind of spoofy, but it's such a fun movie, man. I have seen the original. It is a good movie, but this one to me is more fun to watch.
Yeah, it's not like I didn't find it overly scary.
No.
Although there was one scene in particular, there was a jump scare that happens in the underwater cave when the character Sam gets bit on the hand by a piranha, and it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah,
it got me.
I jumped too.
It got me. That was the one scene in the whole movie that got me, and it got me good. Like it was a good classic jump scare.
Yeah.
But the rest of the movie, it was very campy B movie, over the top in
Yeah,
every way possible.
yeah, it was not scary, but it was fucking bloody.
Yeah. I think the best way, at least in my opinion, to describe this movie is fun.
A
Like
lot of fun.
if you anticipate going into it with like the same mentality of going in, like seeing Jaws, where it's like, oh, this is gonna like scare me from ever wanting to go to the beach. It's like you're watching the wrong movie.
Yeah,
Anything else you liked, didn't like about this one?
that's all I've really wrote down here, except for the fact there are a lot of boobs in this movie.
There's a lot. I think it's similar to, there isn't a single scene after like the 30-minute point that doesn't have a death. It's the same. I think there isn't a single scene after the 30-minute point that doesn't have a topless woman.
Right.
There's something for everyone in this movie. Oh, goodness. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I didn't like about this one that I can think of off the top of my head.
What about the storyline? I mean, it's not really that big of a deal considering what kind of movie this is, but there wasn't really much of a storyline other than piranhas attacking during spring break.
Not only piranhas, but like prehistoric piranhas. I could care less about the plot. It was silly. And I think it was one of those where it's like, well, like we have to have a plot. So like, let's just, and I'm thinking that was, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that like general idea of the plot was probably what the original also had. No,
I can't fully remember. I do think it was similar to like a crack opening up under the water
after like an earthquake or something.
Yeah, exactly. And prehistoric kind of mutant piranhas emerge, right?
Right. There is one dislike, and it's my fault. I wish I would have watched this movie in 3D.
Yeah, me too.
I feel like this movie was hilarious, and I feel like it would be 100 times funnier if I had watched it in 3D. It would have just been so over the top. And I believe it was intended to be watched in 3D. Like that was, I feel like a lot of movies are, the idea of putting it in 3D comes in after the fact.
Yeah.
But this one from day one was supposed to be a 3D movie, I believe.
You can tell in certain scenes
Yeah.
where you could tell like scenes that were meant for the 3D aspect of it.
100%. Yeah. I think we've pretty much covered the likes and dislikes.
Yeah, great movie, man.
Let's go right into one of our favorite categories, which is lessons we learned from watching 2010's Piranha 3D.
Lessons we learned from watching. Insert title of movie here.
Blairski, did you learn anything?
First off, parties hosted by Eli Roth look off the chain.
Yeah, pretty wild.
Man, that party looks so fun, and I would go any day, obviously, as long as there was no prehistoric mutant piranhas.
That's right.
Killing everybody off. But another thing I learned is if your mom is a cop, it's probably not a smart idea to pay off your siblings to avoid babysitting duties so you can go party on the Girls Gone Wild boat during spring break.
Where there are also illegal drugs on that boat.
Right? And it's a small beach town, and you know damn well you're most likely going to cross paths with your cop mom.
And he does cross paths with her.
Totally does.
Oh, God. Did you learn anything else?
That's all I've got, bro.
I've got a couple here. I learned that there are many ways to kill prehistoric piranhas. 1, with a shotgun whilst riding a jet ski. 2, with a taser. A direct hit will cause them to explode. 3, by using a boat motor as more or less a chainsaw. And 4, by combining flares and propane tanks to create a massive explosion.
Yeah. Take notes.
The second thing I learned, which was not so much a lesson I learned, but a lesson I'd like to reiterate. Sometimes bad movies are most fun to watch.
Totally agree.
I mean, this is a bad movie. If people are, I didn't see what Robert Ebert gave this one, but I imagine he gave it 0 out of 5. And I wouldn't blame him. I wouldn't blame him either. But sometimes it's just fun to watch a fun movie.
Man, it's got 74% on Rotten Tomatoes, so it doesn't have horrible reviews.
The fans loved it.
Yeah.
Let's go right into our next segment. One of our favorites, some might say. This segment, Line of the Night.
Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night.
Blairski, anything for Line of the Night?
Okay, yeah, I've got two.
Excellent.
The character Danny, who is one of the girls gone wild. The first scene where she meets Laura on the boardwalk, who is the little sister of the main character, Jake.
Yeah.
Danny starts off the conversation saying, "Nice horn." I can't remember what she's talking about. I think it's the bike, or maybe it's like an air horn.
She had just come from band practice, and she
correct.
had her musical instrument.
Correct.
Yeah.
So yeah, she says, "Nice horn," to which Laura replies, "Nice boobs." Then Danny goes, "Thanks. Who are you waiting here for?" To which Laura replies again, "My brother Jake. He's 17. He will like your boobs too." Which I thought was great.
That set of dialogue pretty much sets the stage for the rest of the movie.
Oh, it's so.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those movies.
Yeah, exactly right. It's so fun. The last one I have here is Deputy Fallon. He grabs a boat propeller and yells, "Chew on this, motherfuckers," while proceeding to kill hundreds of piranhas with the boat propeller.
Arguably one of the best scenes in the entire movie.
Oh, it's so epic.
If not like the most badass scene.
It's so good.
I've got a couple here. Julie, while making an arrest, pulls out her taser and turns to unruly crowd and says, "You boys take one more step and you'll be passing lightning bolts into next week." Another one, during the massacre at the lake, we hear a party goer yell, "Shark, shark." And another party goer responds with, "Who the fuck yells shark in a lake?" And then finally, I have Derek, played by Jerry O'Connell, after having his lower half eaten by piranhas, says, "Jake, they took my penis. They took my penis." It's a very dramatic scene that you can't help but laugh.
It's so funny, and he's such a douchebag, so he like deserves it.
The way he's portraying it, though, it's just like he's like a war hero who, you know, he wants to be comforted by his buddy and he knows he's not going to make it. It's like, come on, man, you got exactly what was coming to you.
Right.
This leads to our true favorite segment, which is Celebrity Lookalike Time.
Celebrity lookalike time.
Blairski, you got anything for Celebrity Lookalike Time?
I've got two. My first one is one you already mentioned in our previous Krampus episode.
Okay, nice
Adam
throwback.
Scott. Yeah, about Adam Scott, who is also in this movie and in Krampus. And in this movie, just the same as the last, he reminded me of a young Tom Cruise.
Perhaps Tom Cruise in Cocktail?
I was thinking more of The Outsiders, but
Oh, okay. Your second favorite Tom Cruise movie.
that's a good movie, man.
Great movie, yeah.
My second celeb lookalike is Deputy Fallon. Reminded me of the late Michael Clark Duncan.
Ooh,
Best
good
known
one.
for his role in The Green Mile. Not just the fact they're both bald and black, but the sheer size of both of them.
They are quite big, quite muscular guys. Yeah, I agree with that one for sure.
What you got?
I've only got one.
Okay.
The character Derek, played by Jerry O'Connell, reminds me of Jason Bateman, aka Michael Bluth.
He totally
Michael
does.
Bluth. Michael Bluth is, of course, president and CEO of the Bluth Company and father of George Michael Bluth, aka Mr. Manager, in the cult classic television show Arrested Development.
Okay.
One of my favorites. Oh goodness. This leads to our final score. Blairski, out of 5 Richard Dreyfuses enjoying a beautiful day by himself, fishing and enjoying a cold brew, out of 5, what do you give 2010's Piranha 3D?
It's so ridiculous.
The longer the better.
I'm giving it 3.5. Richard Dreyfuss enjoying a beautiful day by himself, fishing and enjoying a cold brew, out of 5.
Excellent. I am giving 2010's Piranha 3D 3. Richard Dreyfuss is enjoying a beautiful day by himself, fishing, and enjoying a cold brew out of 5. This is the definition of a movie so bad that it's good.
Yeah, our ratings are definitely on how much we enjoyed it and not the quality of the film.
Yeah, this is not a piece of cinema. It was a fun one though, and it's I'm glad we followed up the Nightmare on Elm Street remake with this one because I was quite bitter after that episode.
Bro, and next is probably one of my favorite movies of all time.
I cannot wait. Because it also means not only is that the next episode coming up, but it also means that perhaps there's a bonus episode coming up as well.
Yes, I'm thinking that is definitely going to happen.
Soon, very, very soon. But for Review Set Scare with Jess and Blair, I'm Jess.
I'm Blair. Remember to stay scary.
And eat every sandwich. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Review Set Scare. Make sure you check out our Linktree at linktree/reviewsetscare. That's linktr.ee/reviewsetscare, which has links to our Instagram, YouTube, Patreon, Twitch, and many other things. If you'd like to email us, you can reach us at reviewsetscare@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and remember to stay scary and eat every sandwich.